What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 58 of Against the Blitz. And today we have a pretty unique episode. We're going to be going through and giving you our predictions for the leaders in almost every statistic that you can think of that doesn't get too ridiculous. And it's going to be fun. Some of them definitely correlate with some of the other episodes we've done in the past, like our award predictions type of stuff. But then there are other numbers that really get into the weeds that are going to be fun to kind of predict leaders for. So Austin put this list together. I'll let him kind of talk what went into the process of choosing which categories to predict.
Yeah, I mean, so like there's the basic passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, the things that pop up on every ESPN stat category. But we also tried to factor in a couple other ones, some of them fantasy relevant, some of them defensive player relevant. We tried to go over like passing yards, passing touchdowns, most passing stats. We did rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, main rushing stats. We did 3 different receiving categories. So we did the receiving stuff for the receivers, tight ends, and running backs. And then we got into defensive stuff, your tackles, your sacks, your ball numbers. So there's a lot to get into here. And I think the most difficult part was not just simply choosing the person that won the stat last year, because they have all of the evidence points to them winning it again. But I can't speak for you, but I definitely tried to pick a new winner for most of these.
Yeah, I did too. I tried to be as out of the box yet within the box that I could be with a lot of these. Like some of them you just have to put the obvious leader down and move on, but others, I tried to think about it and be as nuanced as possible. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of your answers for this. And even for you listeners, you viewers, these are going to be thought provoking. So let us know what you think the leaders for some of these stats will be in the comment section below. And obviously, before we jump into it, be sure you are a Discord member. Link in the description. And that's where you can talk football with us, play fantasy with us. We're right around the corner from the season. So you definitely want to be in there. Super active community. So with that said, we'll start with lumping together the passing numbers, the passing categories. And this will include passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage, interceptions, sacks taken, and sacks yardage lost from sacks. Sorry. So we'll start with that. Who was your passing yards leader?
My passing yards leader, this is the one that I kind of was chalky with. I kept Joe Burrow here for the second season in a row because there's just no avenue where he's not having to throw for like 350 yards per game to win every possible game. So I'll keep it chalk. He won it by far this year, and I think that he has a good chance to win it by far again.
Yeah, I was going to do it, but then I'm like, you know what? I have someone winning the MVP this year that I think is going to throw for a lot of yards. So I went with Mahomes. I talked about it in our award prediction episode. I think Mahomes is going to air the bitch out this year, and I think he throws for a lot of yards. I think he throws for a lot of touchdowns, spoiler alert. And I went with him for the passing yards. But for the passing touchdowns, who'd you go with there?
So I made an amendment because I did have Mahomes. And then about 3 minutes later, Rashee Rice got officially suspended for 6 games. So I was like, I think that does put a damper on a few of them. So I actually picked Dak Prescott. And I think for very similar reasons, having CD, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, and 0 run game, I think they're going to be in a similar instance where they won't be able to punch the ball in through the ground. Dak Prescott's going to have to dig back into his roots of 35 plus touchdown type of seasons, and I think he can have his best season yet.
Yeah, I like that. I went chalk with my MVP to correlate with Mahomes, but yeah, the Rashee Rice suspension definitely made me think for a second. But the Jalen Royals addition was nice. Marquise Brown is healthy for the entire year. Travis Kelce might decide to try a few more weeks this season without Rice around. So I still had to go. I still had to go with Patrick. But those are the surface level numbers. Let's get into some of the more intricate stuff. Completion percentage. Who was your predicted leader for this category?
I picked Jaden Daniels. who put up a nice rookie season of about 69% last year. And I think bringing in Debo and having to utilize Austin Eckler and Bill a little bit more this season, I think it'll be a little bit more compact in the offense, a little bit less airing it out like they did a little bit at some point. So I think we can bump it up to like 71, 72 and win the title.
Jaden was definitely at the top of my mind, especially just because we know the offense that Cliff Kingsbury likes to run, and it definitely involves getting the ball out of Jaden's hands quickly, and Debo definitely will promote that. I ended up going with a guy that has been top 5 in this category for 2 of the last 3 seasons, and that's Geno Smith. He led the league in completion percentage, I think 3 years ago now, maybe 2022. Last year, I think he was 5th. And he goes from an offense where he was passing a ton. I think he'll be passing less in Las Vegas. And with that said, when you have Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, who both have an average depth of target of like 6 and 10 yards respectively, you're going to be throwing it short. You're going to be throwing it quick. And even with Genty in the backfield too, I think a lot of the stuff is going to be short to the winners near the line of scrimmage. So, and Geno's already a guy that was at the top of this category before. So with this grouping, I think Geno Smith will be back up there.
Absolutely. There's a million names in that category that are so hard to leave off. Like Tua is always the first one that I think of every time, but he's the most volatile quarterback in the league. So I like picking Geno.
Yeah, Tua definitely. I almost went with Tua, but it was one of those categories where I'm like,
Boring.
I could try to be boring, but maybe I'll try to be a little different, even though Geno really isn't different on second thought. But
I mean, it's pretty rare to do like an NFL completion percentage prediction, and it's not ever Geno.
Yeah.
Like it might be Joe Burrow because he leads the stat for a whole career in history. Tua gets it like every single year. I mean, Geno's a pretty cool pool.
Yeah, he's always in the conversation for one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football, and that's usually a big part of why. What about interceptions? Who do you think will lead the NFL in interceptions this season?
I put Baker Mayfield, who I also had in the running of passing touchdowns. I think that he is just going to be the same quarterback as last year. And I think that there will be quarterbacks that throw picks at a higher value. I just think that those quarterbacks get benched. I think Baker's the only one that's like good enough that will still throw for like 35 touchdowns, that will also throw a lot of picks.
That's a good call. That's something that I think a lot of people would be quick to throw like poor Daniel Jones at the top of this list. But
I did think about putting Daniel Jones,
yeah,
but I think that he'll get benched if he throws 15 picks. So
right,
I kind of
yes.
had to amend that.
Same thing for like a Joe Flacco. Like he won't last that long if he's sucking. Spencer Rattler, my boy
Yeah,
Spencer.
he'll get benched too.
He'll get benched if he does throw that many picks. So they'll definitely throw Shuck in there as fast as they can if that's the case. But yeah, that's a very fair point. You want to consider who will actually play the duration of the season, and I think the player I chose fit that description, but not on purpose because I really didn't think about it that way. I went with Michael Penix. I went with Michael.
Was that on accident?
Yeah, it genuinely was.
Oh, that's bad.
I went with Michael Penix. I think this is something I've said before too. This is a team I think is going to be in a lot of shootouts. I think Penix is going to be throwing a lot downfield. He threw 3 picks and 5 starts last year. And at that pace, what is that, like 16 and a half picks or something for an entire season? So maybe a little less than that. Whatever the math is, it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be up there. And like I said, shootouts come with dropbacks. Dropbacks from a young quarterback, an experienced quarterback are going to be picks. So I think Penix is definitely going to be at least at the top.
I thought about him.
Yeah.
But I opted out. I'm gonna see more from Penix before I continue to slander the Falcons.
Yeah, fair. I do that like once an episode. Them and the Steelers.
I know. I'm trying not to bring them up. Spoiler. I did bring them up maybe once or twice more, but it didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen now.
I think I can make a compilation of every time we mention the Steelers and see how far we can go back consecutively.
Unnecessarily too. Like we were talking about the Falcons, and then the Steelers come up.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even. I mean, I did do it on purpose, but not in the way that would benefit the joke. But anyway, moving on, we'll go to another fun stat. Which quarterback will be sacked the most in 2025?
I put C.J. Stroud, and he I love the guy, but he's still young. He still takes way too many sacks, and the offensive line got worse. So if I do some math there, I don't think it's going to get much better. I think the Hills statistically do better with his passing, but the sacks I think will still be a pretty big problem for him.
Yeah, I agree. He was my runner up. Stroud. As much as I've said, I feel like Stroud will be like the Joe Burrow of this season. I've said that a few times. As much as I believe it, that will also come with a lot of hits and a lot of sacks, and that's how Joe Burrow plays. I think Stroud is going to fall right in line. He's going to hold on to it behind that offensive line, and he's going to try and make every throw he can. And I think he does have that Burrow type mindset of like, I'm going to try and make a play. I don't care if I get sacked. Like we've heard on multiple like interviews Burrow's done throughout his career. He's like sacks are just kind of like a dumb stat. He just is willing to take a hit, take a sack if he thinks he can make a play downfield. So I think Stroud is going to have to embrace that mindset behind that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
My sack leader was Cam Ward. I think Ward is going to be another guy in situations where he's dropping back a lot because they're losing. He's inexperienced and he's going to stay in the game behind an offensive line that isn't great with weapons that aren't great. And I don't know if his decision making is going to be great. And it won't. It's not going to be good. And I think that's going to lead to him holding onto the ball a lot longer than he's used to. And I don't think he has the athleticism to escape these types of athletic edge rushers and linebackers. So I can see Cam Ward taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of sacks, and bad weapons, bad offensive line, mid rookie quarterback. Yeah, I think he's going to be on the deck.
Yeah, that's actually why I put him in my category of sack yards lost, because the depth of his drop is just ridiculous. Like I think even if he gets sacked 10 times less than Stroud, he's going to get sacked for like 3 more yards per sack than Stroud will, because Stroud's pretty uniform in his drop back and in his mechanics. Like everything's pretty, it's pretty. And Cam Ward has one of the ugliest, like least uniform dropbacks possible. And with how much he scrambles, how much he runs backwards, with how different his athleticism is going to treat him in college versus the NFL, I think it'll be a lot uglier. And I don't think that he has the blindside protector in Dan Moore to kind of hold him down. So even if he doesn't somehow get sacked the most, I do believe that he escapes with the most sack yards lost.
I like that. He also was my sack yards lost leader, and that's a very fair point. It was something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Cam Ward takes in a very deep drop back, and if any of his either of his tackles get beat quick, which they will often, he's not going to be able to go anywhere. And Ward is the kind of guy that I think will try to get away and try to do extra, try to do more, and he ends up taking like a Shadur type 22-yard sack, and it's like third and 33, and they're just running halfback draw to get some room for his punter. Like I think that will happen a couple of times this season.
Oh, yeah, this feels uglier the more I think about it with the Titans offense. Like Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, they might have some fun moments, but geez, as a full functional unit, I it feels gross. It felt gross. It feels way worse to me now just thinking about it.
Yeah, it really there's nothing to like about Cam Ward's situation, like at all. So I feel for the guy, but I think the whole narrative about Cam Ward not getting hype or not getting enough hype is overblown. It's like, what's there? Like he's a good prospect, but I think we all could acknowledge that he's not one of the best first overall picks ever. Probably is closer to the bottom.
He was definitely one of the least valuable first round picks, and it was a pick of like sheer necessity and a really bad quarterback class.
Mhm.
And we talked about it earlier in the Discord where I feel like he would have gone in that like Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy kind of run if it was last year's draft. Because there's just so many flaws that really could go bad. Like they're not super quick, coachable, fixable things. They're like horrible, horrible play style habits that some people can get away with. It's just I don't know if he has quite that level of talent. So we'll find that out. But there is a really high ceiling. I look forward to him, but he doesn't have Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill to like help bail him out of some of his early struggles. It'll be Calvin Ridley and like Josh Wiley. Like actually got cut. Josh Wiley got cut. Is actually going to be like Chika Okonkwo in Gunnar Helm.
Someone in the comment section will be like, yeah, but they're good. Chika Okonkwo and Gunnar
They will
Helm.
tell me how good of weapons they are. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, mid weapons, mid first overall pick. I can understand why the hype is limited. There's really not much to be that excited about. It's actually quite a depressing scenario for a quarterback like Cam Ward.
And like their uniforms are ugly. There's nothing like there's nothing that's even cool about them. Like at least with the Bengals, like once they drafted Jamar, they changed their uniforms. They were like, we're doing this shit different.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just keep everything the same. You got to change something up.
Yeah, and there's no like, I mean, I guess maybe in college, the kids made the TikTok edits about Cam Ward and how he was nonchalant. But other than that, like, how marketable is Cam Ward? It's not like the Titans are doing these things to like build hype up for Cam Ward. Like, there's nothing. Yeah. There's no press run. There's no red carpet. There's
Will Levis had like the Mayo stuff that was kind of funny. Like he was funny on camera. Like he's just like this big buff dude slinging the football 70 yards. Like even though he was dumb, Will Levis was so marketable.
Yes.
Like Shador Sanders is like the most marketable quarterback possible. Even like Jackson Dart is extremely marketable, but just for some reason Cam Ward doesn't like talk. He's not funny. I don't know what the problem is. It's just it is a weird lack of attention. I agree, but I don't think it's like fully undeserved.
Right. That's exactly how I feel. There's really nothing going on from a player perspective, the team's perspective, and every other piece of context. It is not getting covered because it's fucking boring. That's really the bottom line. It's just boring.
Even though he's a fun player, it's just a boring situation.
The Titans are boring. Like the Titans,
everything about them.
With all due respect to Tennessee, they're one of those teams that if you ask like a very casual NFL fan to try and name all 32 teams, that's one of like the 5 or 6 teams they can't remember. It's like, oh man, who's one of those last? Like you just don't think of the Titans because there's just there's nothing going on there.
They're like the Sacramento Kings of the NFL, except the Kings have been good recently.
Yeah. So trying to think of, I think for the NHL they'd be like, they could go away like the. Dude. Okay, fuck you, buddy. All right. I think they could be like the Atlanta Thrashers and just go away and no one would care.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Lore.
Yeah.
Poor Cam Ward, poor Titan fans. That was not intentional. I did not have shitting on the Titans in my notes.
Well, we did it twice, or 3 times, because you did it twice. I did it once, but regardless, I think that is the end of all of my Titans players on my stat prediction. So actually, no, it's not my fault. We will continue.
I think I know where that's going. Well,
we will continue to the next category of the rushing category.
Yes,
which will pertain some QB stats still. We still have QB rushing yards, QB rushing touchdowns, and then running back rushing yards and rushing touchdowns.
All right. Yes. So let's start with the QB rushing numbers specifically to segue it.
Mm-hmm.
QB rushing yards leader. Who you got?
I picked Justin Fields.
No.
Yep.
No way.
Have you seen his rushing stats when he played for the Bears?
I went and looked. He beat Lamar by like 400 yards. He did play like 3 more games or so, but
I feel like the difference, and the reason I didn't pick Lamar is because Lamar these days is getting these on scrambles. Like they don't need him to be a huge extension of the run game anymore. The Jets will not move the football if Justin Fields is not getting like 8 to 10 carries a game. It's not happening. Like they basically have a second running back on their team, and his name is Justin Fields. Whereas, like, current day 2025 Lamar, I just don't think that he wants to or has to run as much as he used to have to. Like, I think nowadays Lamar can rush for like just over 1,900. Like last year, what he had 900 yards.
Lamar?
And yeah,
I think he got over 1,000,
I,
didn't he?
I thought he had about 900 to 950
Yeah,
off the top of my head. And Justin Fields, in his peak in Chicago, ran for 1,143 when he last played a full season. So I'm like, I think this Jets offense will have him on QB powers, options, sweeps, like every possible time they can run a QB run, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they are. I thought about Fields, I'll admit it. I think for every reason that you expressed it going in favor of Fields is why I think I pulled back on him, because I think teams are going to know, like, this is what the offense is going to be centered around, and they're going to sell out for it. It's going to be make Justin Fields pass the football, keep him condensed in the pocket, and force him to make a decision with his arm. And I think that's where things are going to go south. Whereas like Lamar, he might not want to run. He might not opt to do it as much, but the duo of Henry and himself is just so stressful for decision makers in the front seven, and he'll take it and he can get 20 yards a pop easily out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it can happen multiple times, forget in the same game, on the same drive, just because you cannot decide which one of them is going to get the football. And I think his efficiency is just going to outweigh, Fields could end up getting, 150 carries for fuck's sake, but I still think he's going to be averaging like a lower number of yards per rush. So
yeah, I just don't think that rushing yards, like rushing volume, is in Lamar's wheelhouse anymore. Like I think that they're so against it. They're like, please, for the love of God, stop, because he hasn't ran for over 1,000 yards since 2020. Like it's been a very, very long time, because the times where they tried, he kept getting hurt, and then they kind of stopped, and the volume just went down. So like last year he had 139 carries for 915 yards, which is still insane for a quarterback that threw over 4,000 yards. Like that is like legitimately matted numbers. But I don't know. I think Justin Fields can do it. Last like full season, it wasn't even a full season actually. He played 15 games and he had 160 carries for 1,143 yards. Like that's running back numbers.
I'll never forget. I picked him up on the waiver wire like 5 weeks in that year, and look, Justin Fields just ran another 44-yard touchdown.
Dude.
Oh, Justin Fields 60-yard rushing touchdown. I was living large. It was like Bitcoin. It was literally buying Bitcoin.
Well, I don't think it's even crazy to say. I don't think Lamar is faster than Fields.
He's not.
I think he's much better at changing directions, and he's much craftier. He has better vision. But I think like straight line, when you get Fields going, he's as fast as a lot of players in this league. Like faster than receivers, faster than running backs. I think he's faster than Lamar in a straight, continuous line, breakaway line. So I think we still can definitely see those 50-yard touchdowns a couple times this season.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope. I think he will have to be a threat with his arm for, I think, those big ones to spring, because a lot of his rushes from those days in Chicago, I think, came from pure dropbacks. But he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna tuck it. I'm gonna run, and no one really knew what to expect from him that early on. So I think it did catch a lot of teams off guard, but I think it, once teams kind of caught on to him, that's where those kind of started to get bottled up. But if he can be even slightly threatening throwing to Garrett Wilson, he will absolutely rip a few big ones. And I'm rooting for it. I mean, I'm not rooting against it. I like the guy. I feel bad for him. He's not very good, but I still want him to be good.
People have been ruthless to him.
Yeah, they have. But he's also got an insanely strong cult of supporters.
He definitely used to it. Some of them still exist to this day, but I think for the most part they've died off.
I hope. I'll never forget getting attacked and like wished death upon my life for saying that the Bears should absolutely take Caleb Williams, no question. Like Fields fans, I have the TikTok. It was like insane. People were like threatening me. What the fuck? But I
All
appreciate
right.
it. What
So did you
about?
have? Or did you even put your prediction in, or do we kind of know?
Oh, I went Lamar for rushing.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah. What about touchdowns?
I went the tush push again. I went Jalen Hurts, but it was a toss up between him and Josh Allen, really, because they also have fully embraced the tush push as well. So it could be either one, and it was either one last year, right? Like, didn't they have like the same?
I think Josh had one or two less. I
Okay.
think, but it was close. I went with Josh. I did the opposite this time, and part of it was because this is maybe the pessimism speaking, but I think he's going to have to do. He always has to do everything, but I think he might have to do a little bit more of everything this year, and I think that might result in him keeping the ball in the red area a little bit more than maybe the coaching staff wants him to. But when you don't provide him separators, you know, to throw to in those very tight areas on the field, I think he's going to tuck and run a few more. And, you know, I think the tush push merchant's going to have 12 plus again. But like you said, Josh Allen also gets his fair share of those nowadays. And there's no way James Cook is going to have 16 again. So, maybe they go to someone else in the backfield, but I would make the assumption that if Cook's number goes down there, then Josh's will probably go up.
That's fair.
That brings us to, I think those were all the
actual
rushing.
running. Yeah, we'll go to the actual running backs now.
Right.
So who did you get for your prediction of leading the NFL in rushing yards?
I did go kind of chalk, not fun. I went with Derrick Henry.
Boo!
I
I'm
know
kidding. It's a good pick.
it like there was no sign of him slowing down, and him and Lamar. I'll never forget watching the Steelers game in the playoffs. I'm like, this is the most terrifying unit ever assembled. Like those poor Pittsburgh Steelers players were floundering. It was an invincible. It was like in Mario Kart when you get the star in like 8th place and you just like run through everybody and you kill everything and you're going
There's
3
the
times
bullet.
the speed. Yeah,
they were the bullet.
Yes, the bullet.
They were in last place and they were just tearing everything apart.
Oh my God. So
they blue shelled them.
Yeah, they blue shelled them. They bulleted them, blue shelled them, and embarrassed them. Pulled their pants
and then just
down.
unplugged. And then they just unplugged the console afterwards. Like it was fully embarrassing.
It was like the big brother playing the little brother in a video game. And not only does the big brother like stop him by 50, but he like throws the controller at his head after the game, like just like completely disowns him.
Unnecessary.
Like, yes, that's how bad it was. But
yeah,
when you have Henry,
go
with him.
I did, but I was like, this is just boring. So I actually went with top 10 running back Jonathan Taylor.
Wow.
Yep. Last year, he played 14 games, not even full games because he was hurt for a little while. Ran for 1,431 yards at 4.7 yards per carry. And I'm gonna keep it. I think he keeps it up. They lost Will Fries, but he was already injured. So he did that with the backups in when he was at his peak. So I think he can do it again. Last time he played a full season, he ran for 1,811 yards. And I think that he can, in his age 26 season, have a really good year.
Hold on. Let me start my Jonathan Taylor anti-propaganda. Let's see how many of these numbers came in the final. What was it? 3 games?
Well, I don't care when
year?
they happen. I just care that they happen.
Yeah, but like so the final 3 games of the season, he had 218, 125, and 177.
They should start doing that more often.
He had 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. He had 6 touchdowns in that span. 6 in those 3 games, and over 450 yards rushing in those games alone. So
it sounds like a running back carrying his team.
Okay, well, what about the first 14 weeks? Where was it? I just am not buying it. How did I become a Jonathan Taylor hater?
I feel like you can't. I feel like you can't rush for like 1,400, and it like kind of and it be lucky. Like, I feel like at that point, at like 4.7 yards a carry in 14 games, 11 touchdowns in 13 games started. It's pretty damn good with like no passing threat either. Like the boxes were already stacked. He just keeps running through them all,
Yeah,
no matter what.
Just like listen to the company he was near by when it came to week 15. He was Alvin Kamara. He had 911 yards rushing. He was in the neighborhood of the Alvin Kamaras, the Joe Mixons, the Najee Harrises. Like, I don't know.
And then he turned up.
Then he turned up. Yes, he did. But I don't know. People see I think when you cross like the 1,400 yards, that century mark, people are like, oh my God, the best season ever. Like that's like the number that really pops off the page and shines.
Well, I feel like he was also hurt.
He did miss some time.
So
I'm not supposed to say that. Don't say that. That's not my agenda.
He was playing hurt. and then he finally got healed up a little bit and just terrorized the neighborhood.
It's not supposed to be something I was going to do. Yeah, but
1,800 yard season coming again because he's already done that.
All I know is that Ken Walker is arguably a better running back.
Ken Walker might get 1,000 yards.
Doesn't matter though.
For the first time.
Better tackle breaker.
I'm kidding. He had 1,000 yards like one time.
Better running back. Low key. We'll move on. Michael
hit that peak of 1,050.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor was a better running back before. I think in now present day JT, present day Ken Walker, it's close. People are living in the glory days of Taylor a little bit too much. All right.
Yeah, that 2024 season, man, that was.
Okay.
We gotta let that go. Gotta let that go. It's in the past.
Yeah. So is Ken Walker's like 62 missed tackles forced season in 11 games, which was like top 5 of all running backs. That's insane. Like I can't get into it. I've talked about it too much now. What was
who
next?
do you have leading the rushing touchdowns?
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to.
I know. Like, what's even the point? Who else? I almost considered Josh Jacobs. I will say that.
I did put Josh Jacobs.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and because like he went nuts. He had 15 rushing touchdowns last year, and I think that he has like legitimately zero competition for anybody stealing his rushing touchdowns. He doesn't have a quarterback that really does it. They don't have a good red zone passing game. I think it's just going to be all Josh Jacobs again.
Yeah, for some reason, his backup running back just dies every season.
He's a killer.
He is. Like, even when he was in Vegas, like,
yeah,
who was like the back that kind of threatened him for a short time and then disappeared? Do you remember that? He was getting a lot of hype in the preseason.
No.
Oh my
Raiders
God.
running back?
Yes.
What would you call this? Like 2022 or something?
It might have been even earlier than that. Let me see if I can look at the depth chart. Because I think there was a lot of hype
Zamir White.
For no reason. No, I don't think it was Zamir White, unfortunately.
Rookie Zamir White. You don't think it was not
Maybe
Britton
it
Brown?
was.
Amir Abdullah.
Zamir.
People talked about Zamir White like he had a
It might
chance
have
to like
been.
make. I think it actually was. Do you remember the Hall of Fame game?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
When they started Josh Jacobs and
yes.
People were like, oh my God, is he getting benched? Is Zamir White their new running back?
Yes. That's who I think it was, Zamir. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think people thought Zamir White was a better running back than Josh Jacobs at one point.
I think you're right. Yes, it was the Hall of Fame game where Zamir looked like very good. And then that was why part of the reason why going to the following season that everyone, including myself, was very high on Zamir. So, yeah. I
pay this guy money.
All right. Oh, my God. You don't have to speak for him. God, I already hear it enough. So, yeah, Josh Jacobs does kill his backup. So now in Green Bay last year, was it AJ Dillon? And he was like,
I think he chewed on AJ's hamstrings or something.
Yeah.
And he also killed Marshawn Lloyd too. He did it again this year.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he did it twice last year, then did it again this year. He has a red dot pointed at Marshawn Lloyd at all times.
Yeah, dude, poor Marshawn Lloyd. That guy never had a chance.
He's just smacking the back of his legs in his sleep. Forever Charlie horses.
Well, Yeah, Derrick Henry for both of mine. Like I said, I think Josh Jacobs is a very good pick for this team. There's no
Yeah.
competition. Jordan Love is not good in making those tight window decisions sometimes, so I like it. Was that it for rushing? I think it
I think that's
was.
it for rushing. I think there was one for fumbles. I'll quickly get it out of the way. I put Cam Ward for like total fumbles. And we talked about it, like the super loose style of play, the amount of times he'll be sacked. I think he's just gonna fumble a lot.
I didn't I didn't think of quarterbacks for this. I went with a running back.
Oh,
And I guess I could have. I think I did think quarterback, but then I'm like that's kind of not boring, but I don't know. It's also hard to find quarterback fumbles lost numbers
yeah.
for some reason. I think PFR might happen, but anyway, um, I went with Tyrone Tracy. I've been
Mm,
of the belief that Tyrone Tracy is hated by Brian Dable. I don't think he likes him. I think the second that Dable has the chance to bench Tracy for Cam Scatabo, he's going to do it. And as long as Scatabo's healthy, of course. And he had 4 fumbles last year, which I think was close to being tied for like a top 3 spot. And I don't think he played the whole season, if I remember correctly. And in preseason, he did have like a half fumble. He like got tackled and got like thrown to the ground, but the ball went flying out of bounds. But he still dropped it. So it's safe to
yeah.
say that the slippery hands are still in full effect.
I mean, he's a new running back. He's a converted receiver turned running back. He hasn't been doing this since he was like in 8th grade. He is just now learning how to play the position, and he's just completely unfundamentally sound with ball security, which if you've read anything about any of my draft process, ball security is a huge thing, not only to me, but to coaches. And then that's partially why I've been so high on Travion Henderson, because if Ramondre Stevenson goes out there and fumbles 7 times again, he is being shot and killed by Mike Vrabel behind Gillette Stadium. Like, it's not going to happen. He will not have a job if he fumbles not only 7 times, if he even fumbles 3 times. That's way too much.
Mhm.
So if you're somebody like Tyrone Tracy, I mean, they still have Devin Singletary. I haven't heard his name spoken one time, but I mean, like a year ago in Houston, he was getting some real work in. So I definitely would not put all of my stock into Tyrone Tracy as much as the fantasy community has, for the sole reason of him possibly being cut. So not cut, but bench. So that's a good one.
Yeah, he's like 26 years old too, which is crazy. Another
He
one
was
of
an
those
old
old
prospect.
guys.
He
Yes.
was like at Iowa for like for multiple years. Went to Purdue for like multiple years. Then switched positions. He's had a weird career. He's kind of one of those guys that like was kind of just like a successor of circumstance. Like he just happened to be in a running back room with like no one else around him. Everyone else got hurt. He kind of just stepped up, did pretty well for like 2 weeks. But I definitely wouldn't hang on to that. Like they invested in Cam Scatabo for a pretty big reason.
Absolutely. And he's breathing down his damn neck, I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
What about receiving? There's a few of these categories to run through. So
Yep.
we'll start with the basic ones, of course. So who was your receiving yards leader for 2025?
So do we want to get into the running back ones real quick while we're on the topic of running backs?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So for receiving yards for running backs, I chose Chase Brown. And that's just, I think that they're going to be passing so much. I think that he can really live up to this Austin Eckler like role that people are kind of giving him. Um, when people are running too high against the Bengals, like literally 24/7, there's going to be a lot of checkdowns. And I think that's Chase Brown's PPR money.
I like that. Yeah, in the preseason, I think the first preseason game,
Mm,
I feel like the dude had like 6 catches. That could be wrong,
yeah.
but I remember watching the game, and every time I turned my head and they were on offense, Chase Brown was catching the football. And it wasn't even like Joe Burrow was thinking about it either and like going through a progression. He was just like, oh, Chase is here. He's open. He trusts him to go to him like
Mm,
frequently. So I could see that. I like that pick a lot. I say chalk here. I went with Achan. He led the league in running back receiving yards last year. He almost had 700. And without Jonnu Smith there in that type of offense, and who knows what happens with Tyreek, like there's just a lot of things that go into it that make me think it's going to be a similar looking season from Miami, which will lead to Achane just feasting again.
Yeah. I had the exact same reason, which is why I picked him as my receiving touchdowns leader for running backs, Achane. And it was the exact same Jonnu Smith reason. Like their red zone offense kind of used to suck a little bit. And Jonnu Smith kind of came into his own as this like really solid red zone threat. And then they traded him. So now they're gonna have to use somebody because their best receivers are both 5'10", and neither of them are red zone threats. So Devon Achane, good route runner, was really good in the red zone last year. I think that he's good for 5-6 receiving touchdowns at least.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
he's healthy, because that's a whole thing. But
yeah, he's supposed to be ready for week 1, so I hope. But
yeah, so was McCaffrey.
Yep, that's very true. Very true. God, that's
I'm not even talking about
flashbacks.
That. I'm not even talking about that.
I went with HM for touchdowns as well. He led that last year. I think the Lions do it too, maybe the Falcons, but they do this thing where they keep a receiver kind of in the flat and then they throw like the running back on a swing. And then if Tua goes through his progression and there's nothing there, he just throws like a mini screen behind the receiver. And Achane scored a couple of touchdowns that way. Tua loves to throw it when he realizes there's nothing downfield. And I think it's a staple part of their offense at this point. I wish there was like a name for the play. I don't think there is. It's just like a part that they add to their concept when there's only like maybe one progression to go through.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Especially if that's someone like Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Yeah, true.
That is like a legit bona fide blocker, like a badass blocker. Yeah, I think I'm envisioning what you're talking about. That's very true. Like they use him as a top 2 option, like in the progression system on the like in the red zone passing offense. It's actually like weird, but it's really cool.
It is. If I go and clip this, I'm gonna throw one of the plays I'm thinking of because I can just like picture what they do.
Yeah,
like Tua goes left to right, and then Achane's off to his right shoulder, waiting for a pass, and there's just a receiver like standing in front of the line of scrimmage, waiting to block. Like it's kind of lame, but it's fun for PPR, to be honest. So I won't be mad. What about 4 receivers? Do you want to go straight to them?
Yeah, let's just get right through the receivers.
All right, your receiving yards leader for these guys.
Receiving yards, I went chalk again. I went Jamar Chase for the same reasons. He had the lead by a lot, and he looks like he's getting better. So with the Bengals possibly passing more than they even did last year, I think that's Jamar. I think that's Jamar's award again.
Yep, I also went with Jamar for receiving yards. It's kind of hard not to when you think the offense is going to look the same.
You would just have to predict him getting hurt. Like that's the only way. Like you're predicting his fall off, and that's the reason most people fall off. That's the reason. Like outside of like the fluky Cooper Kupp kind of things, like it's usually been just Justin Jefferson gets hurt or his quarterback gets hurt. Like I thought about guys like Justin Jefferson, but just the passing volume will just not be there to match the Bengals.
Agreed. What about receptions?
I actually picked someone a little different. I picked CeeDee Lamb here. And I think that Jamar is just like this, also just this crazy big play threat from literally anywhere on the field. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's quite that as much, but I think he's a better separator, a better route runner. So I do see a situation where George Pickens kind of takes a little bit of stress off him and he can just kind of win short, like he had to do with Cooper Rush a lot. But with a better quarterback in Dak Prescott, I can see him getting a lot more of that volume.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be getting a lot more opportunity to win one-on-one. So that's definitely going to play to his benefit. I think last year, maybe even the year before, he was getting peppered with targets because like no one else was serviceable. So they were just like doing whatever they can. They'd shove him in the slot and, run him on a drag or try to get him on a spot, just anything they can do to get him the football. And they would try to force it to him. But no, he'll actually be able to work, I think, a lot more. And Part of me wants to believe that he'll be more efficient with maybe a lower amount of work. But at the same time, too, if he is getting one-on-one opportunities more and more, then that could just mean that Dak isn't going to give a shit. And he's just going to throw to CD anyway. So
Yeah, I also think that like their volume of passing will just be
yeah,
really high. So even if they have to share a little bit of love to George Pickens that they normally would have shared to like Brandon Cooks or something, George Pickens has never drawn a ton of volume, even when he was the one. So I think that he'll just take a little bit of love from the defense away. Um, I think CeeDee Lamb's still very much by far the number one look on every single passing down.
yeah, agreed. I went with Puka here,
Oh,
the guy that I've been screaming to the mountaintops about all offseason. I don't think he leads in yards purely because Jamar is Jamar, of course, but I think he is going to see a lot of work. Anybody that is the focal point of a Sean McVay offense with Matthew Stafford throwing the football is going to see that like a ton of opportunity. And Puka Nacua is very good at football. So if I'm going to sit here and say that he's going to be in the top 3, potentially the top 1 fantasy receiver, then he's got to lead something. So here
mhm.
he is in receptions.
I like that. I mean, he's not only just a really good route runner and separator, but they also use him a ton in the screen game,
Yeah,
kind of to be an extension of their run game. So, I mean, if he gets 3, 4 of those a game on top of just whatever routes he won and got delivered to, he could easily be 120, 130 plus reception kind of guy.
absolutely. And his efficiency numbers are crazy. If there's one guy that I think could come close to Jamar in yardage, it's going to be Puka if he sees enough volume to make up the difference. That is
Yeah, I think aside from CeeDee Lamb, I think that he is the guy that could see that amount of volume. And it would just make sense to. Like it wouldn't feel like you're just overdoing it. It wouldn't feel like you're just peppering him with targets. Like they would feel meaningful.
absolutely. I mean, it's the receiving game. Devontae Adams exists, but it's going to run through Puka. It's going to live and
Yeah.
die in that connection with Stafford. So
Adams will take his maybe a tiny bit more than Cooper Cup was, but it won't be like half and half. I don't I couldn't think.
I don't think so either. I think that threat of Devontae has gotten so overblown. It's like Adams still looks very good, but he is another year older and he is the definitive number 2. I mean,
Yes,
he
agreed.
he went to New York and he was Aaron Rodgers' best friend and they knew they were going to lose football games, so they were just going to pad their own stats together and, frolic into the sunset with, 200 yards passing, a pick, and then Devontae has 110 and 2 touchdowns. Like they don't care.
They
But
did just that.
yes, they did. So I don't think that will be the case in Sean McVay's offense. I'm
Well, who do you have
interested.
as your? I was about to ask who you have as your
Yeah,
receiving touchdowns leader, if maybe not Puka.
it's not Puka. He's not really been a big touchdown guy in his career, so I can't just expect an explosion. So I went with someone that I think you probably chose, honestly. I went with Drake London. He
I did.
had London had 9 last year in a season where Kirk Cousins went like what 4 or 5 games without throwing a single touchdown pass. So let's take away that stretch of time, and he is very much easily clearing that 14, 15-yard touchdown mark. And
Yeah,
Penix is a hell of a downfield passer compared to whatever Kirk was last year. So I'm all in on London being here.
yeah. There was a couple guys. That was one of my main reasons too. And Drake London's specialty in college and early in his career was just winning one-on-one box out matchups, like go up for the rebound, like the basketball player he was. But he's also just developed into a good route runner and separator as well. So I think that there's a very good case where Drake London just becomes red zone specialty, best red zone guy in the league, the next Mike Evans, and that kind of thing. And I thought about Mike Evans, and another one I almost put, obviously Jamar, who had 17 touchdowns last year, but I almost put T. Higgins as well because he had 11, I think he had 10 touchdowns in 12 games. That's pretty insane. Like he could have had 13, 14 touchdowns if he would have played the full season. So I don't think it'd be too crazy to expect him to do similar because it didn't feel like he had all of those in like one stretch. He just organically gained 10 touchdowns pretty quick.
Yeah, when you have to score a lot of the touchdown prediction stuff, you got to look at who you think is going to be scoring a lot of points, or at
Mm-hmm.
least have the most opportunity to score a lot of points. And that's why, like, I don't know who doesn't fit this description that as a pure receiver might be thought
Like,
about.
really, Justin Jefferson to me
Yeah.
was kind of the main one where, like, yeah, he might even be the best receiver in football, but the offense they're probably going to run won't be super catered for production for him. It'll just be kind of catered to controlling the game, getting the tight ends and running backs involved, and then hitting Justin Jefferson when the time calls for it. But I definitely don't see him being you know, a threat to get 15, 16, 17 touchdowns. Just not his
Sleeper
game.
touchdown leader. Take a guess.
TJ Hawkinson.
No. What? Come on, think about it. Think about
Mark
it.
Andrews.
No,
He gets like 10 a year.
he does, but no. Come on, he's a fan favorite at this point.
Of mine?
Well, no.
Keon Coleman?
No. Okay, the terrorist. No, come on. I stayed at the Cortland Sutton. God damn it, Cortland Sutton is gonna be. He's gonna be.
He could.
Wait.
I was thinking, like, who the hell sounds like Hotel California right now?
Yeah,
Like, I was like, what name is that? No, Cortland Sutton could do it.
just
I mean,
wait.
how many did he have last year?
I don't think he broke 10.
I don't
Oddly
think he
enough.
had like 8, maybe.
Yeah, he did, I think.
But that's good. 8's a good like foundation to build upon. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm ever predicting someone to go from like 5 to like 16, that's pretty unrealistic. But if you're at 8, pretty close to 10, you can expect a small jump to get to like 14. And 14 could win you the title.
Yeah, it could. 17 is kind of unheard of. Like
Jamar just went like legitimately like one of the best receiving seasons of all time and still didn't win an award out of it, but crazy.
No one gave a fuck. Triple
No
crown
one
winner,
cared.
and no one
Literally
cared.
no one cared. Triple crown winner, 17 touchdowns, 1,700 yards plus. Like, yeah, okay, well, didn't make the playoffs, dumbass.
Yeah,
you should have got more.
I think
that's
you should have been.
Devontae Smith's better.
Yeah, I think you should have been offensive player of the year. To be honest,
fair,
but I won't fight that battle now.
Nope.
I think
tight ends. That's the next one.
Mm-hmm.
We have receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Who do you got?
So for receptions for tight ends, I have Trey McBride leading the pack. Your spiel about McBride in our tight end, either the fantasy tight end episode or the summit, whatever it was, you convinced me. And a lot of this lives and dies on Kyler Murray's shoulders and my lacking faith in his ability to develop a connection with anybody else. Like Kyler needs to throw to McBride to survive, or as a quarterback, I think he will get benched. Like that's how much he relies on McBride and on all levels of the field. Like I remember McBride getting all sorts of targets up and down the field. So I think that's where it's going to come from. And might not look pretty, but he's going to see a ton of work.
He will see a ton of work. I mean, there's like legit no reason for him to fall off. That's who I picked too for receptions. And a lot of it's short. A lot of it's like the dirty yards. Some of them almost feel like carries. Like they just dump a screen or a drag off to him and just see if he can take off and run some people over and get some more yards out of it. But I think he's become like the most underappreciated star. Like the production he's putting up is legit, like superstar, all pro level production. It's just that no one cares because it's the Cardinals and they're like the least marketable team out there right now. But yeah, it's partially why I've been pretty anti Marv for fantasy purposes. Is just this Kyler to McBride connection is like unbreakable. He has to throw to him every play, and it works. Like there's no reason not to. It's just a better product.
Yeah, like I feel like I can remember plays where Kyler will like throw to Trey like 4 yards in front of him. He's got like a defender draped on his back, but he doesn't care. He'll try to zip it into him. The defender's like literally sprawling to try and get the football, but he throws to him no matter what. It doesn't matter
He'll
how
catch it. He catches it every time, though.
He does.
And then he makes a play after the catch. There's no reason not to throw it.
Yeah. Well, for receiving yards, did you double up with McBride or did you go somewhere else?
I went to Brock Bowers for this one. And it's because I think that he's just a better big play threat than Trey McBride at this point. Trey McBride kind of just has to live in the short yardage area because they don't have a receiver that can. But I think when you have someone like Jacoby Myers and you have a good run game, I think that allows Brock Bowers to kind of hunt for the bigger plays because his athleticism just allows it. And we saw in the preseason them throw a really nice deep ball to him, and it looked really natural. And it's pretty rare for a tight end to look super natural as a deep threat because he also didn't do a lot in college, honestly. Like he was never a huge downfield receiving threat. So I'm actually really excited for him to unlock that.
I almost went Bowers too. I changed my mind kind of last second simply because I wanted to try and be slightly different with this. And I do firmly believe that George Kittle is going to be at the top of this list. I mean, he always does as long as he's fully healthy, but he's someone that doesn't rely on the opportunity as much as like a Bowers or a McBride. Like I think he had like 30 less catches than both of those guys last year, and I think he was like 40 yards short of being up in the 1 and 2 spot for yards. So I think this offense is going to need Kittle through the passing game badly, especially after the catch. I think McCaffrey coming back is going to help the efficiency as well for the passing game. And I mean, everyone talks about like, oh, Ayuk's down and Debo's gone. So that means Jawan, if he's healthy, that means Ricky Pearsall. It's time for him to step up. But it's like, what about George? You know, he's definitely their best pass catcher right now. And I think they're going to lean on him heavily, especially early in the season while, you know, they try to get Ayuk back and Jawan might start the season on IR. So I think that's where a lot of the receiving work gets funneled.
He's their most stable presence, even though he's he's up there in age. McCaffrey is still a huge question mark coming off of a very major injury last year. Like you said, Ricky Pearsall, he's been injured his entire career so far. Juwan Jennings is nursing an injury. George Kittle is by far the most stable thing on that offense. He's been there the longest, and he is still kicking ass, which is why I picked him to be my receiving touchdowns leader. Because he is just a dog in every way, shape, and form. After the catch, down the field, in the red zone, he just makes plays. He's built a really nice rapport with Brock Purdy by this point. I think he can definitely be a double-digit guy.
I like it. I almost went with Kittle here too. I, once again, tried to shake it up, but I went with Sam Laporta. He had 10 his rookie season. Last year, despite not scoring for the first 9 weeks or whatever that ridiculous streak was, he ended the season with 7, surprisingly. And that was not too shy of number 1. Andrews finished with 11 at 1. Kittle and Jonnu were at 8, and that was 2. And then he was tied for 3rd with 7. So in an offense that I think is going to have to pass more because they're going to be in higher scoring games with a defense that'll be, I think, shakier and a heavier passing approach because I think they'll just flat out going to have to. Laporta's going to have to be a presence in the red zone for them to be scoring.
Yeah. Talking about a down year with scoring, Mark Andrews is treated like he's the worst tight end of all time. He had 11 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Does Isaiah likely push through, or is this injury going to keep Mark Andrews?
From their coach speak, it didn't sound incredible. I think he'll be fine pretty quickly, but they're talking about we expect him back, sometime in the beginning of the season. But it was definitely not we're confident we'll have him week 1. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of how all these have kind of sounded the last few weeks, where they're we hope to have him back pretty soon. The next, it's week to week. Anytime you hear week to week, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, you forget it. I'll wait for the next update in a month. I don't want to even pay
attention. And then they're still week to week, and then it's so when it's next week now. If we need him back next week, we need him back day to day now.
Yeah.
So I think likely definitely is not in his best shape. Even when he comes back, he'll be a 245-pound man nursing a lower body injury. That's never. I've said it before. You don't get healthier playing football. So
Mhm.
throughout the course of the season, your ankle doesn't just stop getting people landing on it. Like it's just going to keep getting worse. So this might be honestly, this could definitely be Mark Andrews' award again. I mean, he dominated it last year. He could definitely do it again.
They score enough points. So,
Yeah, if he can shape the yips.
definitely. So we have some miscellaneous oh no, well, this one is also receiving wise. What about drops? Who do you have leading the league in drops?
I picked a repeat. I picked Jerry Judy again. And it was mostly because he was the only guy that I think does one have bad hands, but also will receive like not the most catchable balls. Like I think that he'll get some that will count as drops that might hit him, kind of behind at the waist. That'll still count as drops. I think that like it's just a matter of volume and bad passes and bad hands.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
He had 13 last year.
Judy is always in this conversation.
Yes.
Steve Smith will definitely make a point to remind you of that. But that's it. That's a good one. I didn't consider him. I don't know why. Maybe I just thought like there's no way he drops 13 balls again. But he very well could, especially with who knows who throwing him the football. I went with someone that breaks my heart. I went with Xavier Legette. It hurts. I don't know if we'll see enough volume to be at the top of this list ultimately,
so.
but I think this season, best case scenario, they're going to do their best to really see if he can be a functioning cog to this system, and that will come with opportunity. And he does have some. He's got some drop issues, even in like the route god TikTok videos I've seen of him. Like he's like bobbling the football. I'm like, bro, this is just like in someone's like at a park, like around the corner from someone's house, and he still can't catch the ball against the air. Like, all right, so
It's a fixable thing, but usually it's like for the receivers like Devontae Adams, for example, really struggled with drops to start his career. But when you watch the guy, you're like, this guy's cool, like super coordinated. Like everything about him is crazy coordinated, crazy smooth. He can probably develop good hand-eye coordination at some point. Like it'll happen. Xavier like Xavier Legette might be like the clunkiest,
yeah,
most awkward looking route runner in the world. Like there's nothing smooth about it. She's like, damn, like how the hell is he gonna fix this problem? Like there's no coordination, there's no smoothness, no nothing. Yeah, I never was on the Legette train, but I was on the Jalen Coker train. So I am excited about that and his emergence to be the wide receiver one on this team. But aside from that, that's a good pick.
Nico Collins 2.0 incoming.
It's people didn't think Nico Collins would be all that good either. He was like a
No.
day 2 pick. Everybody thought he was like just another regular wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 3. Then he blew up.
Yeah, he blew up is the right word. I remember he was going in like the 14th round of fantasy drafts, just like Jalen Coker.
Yes.
So
Like 2 years ago.
yeah,
He had back-to-back 400-yard seasons with 3 total touchdowns in them. And then just became like a top 10 receiver immediately.
Jesus. Well, now we have some miscellaneous kind of categories. Some defense, some special teams, some kind of offensive stats. You'll see. So let's go to sacks allowed by an offensive line unit. And this one I had a question.
Mine was a person.
Oh.
Well, we already know like the unit because I already had my
Yeah.
quarterback.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Like
I did one person.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, you go ahead. I'll think about
That's
it.
why I said a Titans coming back. I picked Dan Moore for this one.
I mean,
because not only does Dan Moore, who gave up a bunch of sacks last year, he's now doing it with Cam Ward, who projects to just get sacked a lot, regardless of whatever line is in front of him. So I think this is a really bad recipe to give up a ton of sacks.
Yeah,
for Mr. Dan Moore.
It is. It's the perfect recipe. It really is for just absolute disaster. I mean, it's hard not to go with a Titans guy or a Texans guy. I mean,
You
even
can
if
go
it was,
Ariante Ursary.
yeah, that might be who I go with just for the sake of moving on because he really he's just so raw. We've already talked about how many sacks Stroud could take. Like it's just kind of simple math at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Whoever Alex Kappa is blocking for, Geno Smith, you're done
you're dead, buddy.
again because he's used to that.
Well, this will be a fun one. Some defensive numbers.
Mm.
Who do you project to lead the league in total tackles in 2025?
Tackles. I picked Bobby Okereke.
Okay.
A guy that already was a pretty up there every single year, but now I think that they finally have like the defensive front to kind of open up some gaps for him to hit the holes and make some tackles. And I think they'll be losing a lot, so teams will just run the ball on them a lot, and he'll just clean up.
That's kind of the formula that went into it for me. I went with Deion Henley, the linebacker for the Chargers. He had 92 tackles last year, so he was near that 100 mark. But
I thought he had more than that.
PFF had him at 92. He might have had more. It depends what site you
I
look
thought
at.
he had like way more than that.
It was still kind of near the top of the list.
Oh yeah, he had 147 like combined tackles.
Okay, so PFF, I think, do they do?
I don't know because he had 84 solo, so I don't know, but yeah, last year Deion Henley he had 147 tackles.
Yeah,
which is a shitload.
Mm-hmm. Either way, it was near
yeah,
the top.
he could definitely do that.
I think, and this year it might be even more because we've talked about it a number of times. Oz's favorite interior run defender, Poona Ford, no longer exists in a Chargers uniform.
Jamari Caldwell looks good though, but yeah, he's no Poona.
No, but I think that will lead to just a lot more bodies running straight at Henley's head on the second level, and he's going to have to make more tackles than he had to last year. And if teams are running the ball on them because they're not looking great up front, then like you said, the more teams are running on the defense, the more tackles you're probably going to have.
Yeah.
So he was a first team All-Pro for me last year.
Yeah, I mean, deserved. He was awesome.
He was. Well, let's go to sacks. Simplify a little bit. Who do you have leading the league in sacks?
I picked one I've never actually really seen. I picked Nick Bosa. Kind of fell off the radar a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, obviously a big name, but no one really talks about him in that top 5 anymore. But he's 3 years removed from having 18 and a half in 2022. So I definitely don't think that'd be crazy to see him do it again. He's just kind of been, you know, a couple injuries here and there, kind of a weird defense. But now that they finally have their defensive coordinator back, I do think that we can see a peak Nick Bosa again.
Yeah, I think Nick Bosa he's kind of gotten a lot more credit, at least coming off this last year, for his ability to defend the run. And I think he's more so viewed as like one of those better blend type of edge rushers, like closer to a Max Crosby than like a Trey Hendrickson, of course. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean he can't put up Trey Hendrickson type of pass rushing numbers because he has in the past. So
yeah, 18 and a half in just 2022. Like that's pretty nutty.
It is. So I like that call a lot. I went with Micah Parsons. It's simple. As long as he plays for the Cowboys, I guess. No matter who he plays for.
I think I was actually about to make a prediction. Like, I think that he gets more sacks if he goes to Green Bay.
You think so?
I think that they just have a better defensive play calling system right now, and they just haven't had the dudes. Like, I think Micah Parsons is very responsible for a lot of the success that Dallas has had. So I think if he goes to Jeff Hafley's system that has a good safety room, good linebackers, a good pressure unit, like I think that he could definitely be like a monster for them.
Yeah, it's tough. Like we haven't seen a dominant pass rusher for Green Bay in a while. Obviously, they haven't had a Micah Parsons in a while either, or ever, quite frankly. But I don't know. Something about 14 sacks in 12 games last year with Dallas.
It's nasty.
So, he was a freak. So something has to be clicking.
I mean, was it Clay Matthews? I mean, he wasn't even that crazy good. Like he was a little bit inflated. His best season was like 13 sacks, which is like a mild year for Micah. So Definitely could be an all-time great in Green Bay if they just make the trade. Ricky already predicted it.
Dude, Ricky's been on fire. I was
For
a
those of you that
Ricky.
don't know, Ricky is this random Twitter account with like a bull terrier for a profile picture. Like he's completely like non-professional, but he posts pretty infrequently. Like he doesn't post all day, but when he posts these predictions, he gets them right every single time. Like he predicted like 3 days in advance that Minnesota was trading for Adam Thielen. Who else did he predict? That was really big.
He hit recently on something else too. I
He
think it
predicted
was
everything.
he said I think he hit the Brian Robinson trade.
He did. He predicted that Brian Robinson would have been traded at the time that he did. He said that day, like he woke up and said Brian Robinson is getting traded today,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, "What?" And
He did.
then recently, Ricky has put out that Green Bay has a really heavy offer that is being offered to the Cowboys like right now, and it looks like a good deal that might get taken. So it's really weird that we're just relying on this random persona from Twitter that no one knows who he is, but he's been so correct recently that like people are already buying Micah Parsons Packers jerseys, and John Kuhn on Twitter is going nuts. So it might happen.
I was a Ricky doubter, a Ricky. I was not a believer early on, especially around the draft. I think he was one of the guys that first started the Genty to the Jags train, and I'm like, get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here! Like I was
you never
so
know.
pissed, and you never know. I guess.
It might have happened if for whatever reason the Browns pulled the plug on the trade and
Yeah.
they didn't want Mason Graham. The more I look at it, the more like the fact that they did trade for Hunter and go after like a skill position guy instead of like a lineman.
Mm,
I feel like they had the balls to just get the superstar guaranteed good running back.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, they very easily could have. I
I
was.
think they actually would have done it. I think that's a good projection. I don't think they like Mason Graham that much. He doesn't fit his style. Like he doesn't fit the Gladstone style.
I guess. I just
I
don't
think they would have
think.
gone Genty. I think that's actually a good prediction.
Well,
And I
nonetheless,
love Ricky.
Ricky has been killing it lately, and I have turned a brand new leaf on Ricky. So I am a big supporter now. I have his
Nice shit,
notifications
Ricky.
on Twitter, like
Really?
everyone should. And yeah, Ricky, good, very good follow. Promote Ricky, and he uses a very goofy font for his like
Yes, it's
graphics.
Comic Sans.
Yes.
This is
Know
comic.
how do you know the fucking name of it? That is hilarious.
Yes, he uses Comic Sans font. He's an incredible character.
He is. He
So please look at Ricky. Stop looking at Schefter. Stop looking at Schultz. Go to Ricky. He's more guaranteed to get you a good prediction.
yes, I love me some Ricky. Definitely happy I'm not a hater anymore.
That's good.
What about tackles for loss leader?
It's hard not to go TJ Watt here, who's kind of been at the very top of this his whole career. And I think now that I think his ankle flexibility is starting to fall off a little bit. The pass rush might not be there, but I think he's even taking the run defense a little bit more to heart. And I think he's really just emphasizing being the best run defending edge in the league. So I think TJ Watt could do it again.
Yeah, he definitely could. I just didn't want to bring him up. I don't want to talk about Watt.
No more Steelers.
No more Steelers. I do think he could be up there though. I ended up going with Max Crosby though. I think
Mm-hmm.
he kind of is. No one's really talking about him very much because he didn't play a lot last year. The Raiders sucked, so there wasn't much to really talk about when it came to Max Crosby. But I think this year, especially if without Robert Spillane, they're going to need run support help, and I don't know if anyone else is going to provide it, but Max Crosby might just take his game up to a whole nother level. And he's always at the top of this category anyway when he plays a full 17. So if without Spillane around, Crosby's just going to have to go berserk, and I can see him leading the league in this regard.
Totally fair, dude. He's a monster run defender. Aside from just being a havoc creator as a pass rusher, he's a guy I've consistently talked about. Just needs more media hype. He's a freak. Like he is an all-time player with the right system. So yeah, that's a great pick.
So we have a couple more here. Let's get to interceptions. Which individual defensive player leads the league in picks?
I put Malachi Starks, safety from the Ravens, and this is the reason why I have predicted him to be my defensive rookie of the year on this podcast before, and it's just the nastiness of that Ravens secondary. I think people are going to have a really hard time completing passes, and I think that we are going to see a lot of balls just kind of tipped up in the air. And I think Malachi Starks has really good instincts, really good ball skills. He'll take a few for his own. He could be looking at 6, 7, 8 picks.
Definitely. Yeah, I also, he was my prediction too for that
Mm,
award. And Malachi will be able to play so loose, so free with everyone else around him. And I think that will provide more opportunity for him to maybe jump in front of a couple more that he wouldn't decide to try to if he was playing in another secondary.
yeah.
I am going to go with Derek Stingley for this one. Part of it for me is like also who can get a lot of pressure. The Texans were at the top of that list, and that leads to just so many bad decisions. And Stingley's probably got the most range from sideline to sideline of any DB in football. So I think Stingley will just find himself running under moonballs that were ill-advised by pressured quarterbacks multiple times this season because of that
Fair.
that edge rusher duo. So
I mean, he did it last year. I mean, he looks like he keeps getting better. So definitely possible.
that leaves us with forced fumbles, the last defensive category.
Mm. I picked a non-edge rusher. Finally, I picked Fred Warner, who has the most textbook peanut punch in the NFL. Marlon Humphrey used to have this on lock every year, but he seems to have fallen off. It's Fred Warner time now, and this is usually an edge rusher award. It's pretty common. It's a lot easier to strip the ball on a sack than it is to take the ball from a running back. But I think Fred Warner will punch out enough of them to make some noise here.
Fred Warner, I think, has some of the most violent tackle attempts of any linebacker. It's insane. Like there's a compilation of him just like launching himself head first at like
And it's not even like the impact. It's not even like Ray Lewis style like violent impact. It's just the intent. Like he will throw it like all 240 pounds of his body directly at you head first. Like feet are off the ground every tackle, and his arm is punching you with ungodly force in the gut every single time he tackles you trying to get that ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. It's fun to watch. The peanut punch is like a work of art.
It's incredible.
It's really one of those things that's like a niche developed skill that not many guys have. I really didn't think about this one too hard. I like am thinking about it again, and other than Fred Warner, no one else really comes to mind of players that I think could, because it's almost kind of a fluke thing too. Like as much as it is a skill, it is kind of fluky.
It was like TJ Watt's award every year.
Yeah,
it kind of felt like so. Like he's the pretty common pick. You could always do like the Trey Hendricksons, like the guys will get a ton of sacks and they might touch the ball a few times. It is kind of fluky. Like it definitely does range. Like outside of TJ Watt, there was never like a consistent guy that would appear here every year. Except for Marlon Humphrey. He found himself like top 3 every year, and it was really weird.
I'm gonna go with Zach Bond. Let's take another linebacker.
That's a good one. I mean, he plays a lot like Fred Warner these days with that like kind of violent tackling. The Eagles' entire defensive front has a really good peanut punch. Like it's something they've really worked recently, and it helped them in their favor, helped them win multiple playoff games.
Yeah. So I'll go with Bond. And then that leaves us with some special teams fun. Who leads the league in field goal kicks made?
Well, this is my last Steeler. I went Chris Boswell.
Yeah.
And because it's just, I think that their offense will be good enough to move the ball, but not good enough to score. So I think that Chris Boswell will, as usual, win them all their games.
Yeah, that's a good one. Boswell was a menace in fantasy last year. That guy was just a point machine. I went with, I'm looking up his name right now, and he looked decent in preseason. It was the Colts kicker, Spencer Schrader. I
Oh
think he's
yeah.
the name. I think that team, talk about a team that I think is going to find themselves in field goal range a lot, that I think is not going to be able to score too much. And I'm going to go with Schrader. I think he had like 4 attempts in like the first 3 quarters of one of the preseason games I watched. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's a mistake. What
No,
about
he seems like a good kicker,
mhm.
but like he only has like 5 career attempts in like the actual NFL, so I have no idea.
Yeah, this is a complete like random shot in the dark. But what about kicks missed?
Tyler Bass. No, I'm kidding. It's Jake. I put Jake Moody.
Jake Moody. That's a
Jake
good one.
Moody just needs to get kicked out of town because I think there'll be another team that kicks the ball enough to like really rack up a bunch of opportunities, but he's just been so bad.
He I think 49ers fans hate him, which they
Yeah, because they
should.
also spent a huge draft pick on him.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
and
him and it was that tight end from Alabama. What was his
fuck
name?
if I know.
No, Cameron Latu. Is that sound? I think that's his name. Yeah,
You
Cameron
think?
Latu.
Yeah,
Yes,
maybe.
they put like a third round pick into him. Him and Jake Moody. I think they put a third round pick into both.
Oh my god.
And then Jake Moody, like, well, how many kicks? What was it? He missed 10 kicks last season.
Wow. Holy
He went
shit.
24 of 34.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, for
He
a 4th
was
round pick, that's
he
bad.
was 6 of 11 in like the 40-yard range.
Oh my god. 6
That's
for
half of
11?
them. Like
That's awful.
Yeah, that's insane. Like he was automatic under 40. Like he made it every single one, which is good. But God, from anything past 40, he was like under 500.
Interesting. That's a good one. I'm gonna go with it would be Dustin Hopkins, but he finally is unemployed. It took way too long, but he's gone now. So the bad man no longer will haunt Cleveland. Well,
Yeah,
actually, he
they now
was.
have
But
some random other person.
I'm gonna go with. Ooh, is he even employed anymore? I don't know.
Tyler Bass.
It might be. I'm gonna go with. I mean, Cam Little. I'm gonna go with Cam Little. I
What?
think I don't know. I didn't write one down for this one. I think
That's like
fuck
putting
it.
Tom Brady for the most losses.
Oh, why? Because he has a 70-yarder, so now he's not gonna miss
He
any
was
kicks.
he missed 2 kicks last year. He was so good.
Yeah,
27 of 29. He's the GOAT.
how do you are you looking at them all? I'm trying to find one that sucks. No one's like that. I'm also trying to determine who's still on a roster. Of the
Tyler
guys I'm
Loop.
looking at. God, Tyler Loop. Honestly, I'm gonna say Tyler Loop just for the simple fact that anytime a team drafts a kicker, they're bad. It's just how it goes.
It's how it goes. Like even Evan McPherson started off incredible and he's fallen off. So
Yes, it's
it's
just
it's been like it's been a horrible run of kickers drafted that have all been bad.
Mhm. All right. Well, that I think pretty much rounds out our very random yet fun stat prediction video. So if you guys enjoyed, feel free to leave all of your thoughts and your prediction leaders down in the comments below. And we will see you in episode 59.